Yo, 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 we're live. Nez Nation, how in the world are you? Make sure you hit that like button because in this video, I'm going to teach you the art of storytelling, Storytelling 101, how to tell an effective story so that you can boost engagement. And I mean skyrocket engagement for your personal brand, for your content, which builds your audience, which builds your community, which engages, entices, the whole deal, Schlemiel. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to Nez Nation Live. Flash in your pan. How in the world are you, sir? It's Ed in the house. Ed is in the house. Good to see you, Ed. So awesome to see you guys. I cannot wait to get cooking here. How's everybody doing? Stony Creek. Yes. Yes, Stony is in the house. Unbelievable channels, by the way. Make sure you hit that like button. Coming on in. I want you to just go. Smash that like button. It would really, really mean a lot to me. I can't wait. I look so forward to seeing you guys every single week. How in the world are you? Let me know in the chat. Good to see you, Flash. Boy, we've had a lot of amazing live streams this weekend, have we not? Yes, Beth in the house. Oh, yeah, we're cooking. We're cooking some good stuff for you, Beth, for sure. You're going to love what I'm cooking today. You know how Nez do. I'm the chef extraordinaire. I'm always cooking something. I'm always cooking something that's going to bring you guys the nutrients, the ingredients to build your brand, discover your purpose, communicate your message so you can impact your audience. So excited to see you guys. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you hit that like button. I'd really, really appreciate. Where is the like button? Is it down there or is it up there? I keep going like it's up there. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, by the way, did you guys check out my last video? Customer service. You know, it's very relevant to what actually we're going to be talking about today. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. It's actually very relevant to what we're going to be talking about today as well when it comes to the idea of serving your audience. I talk about this all the time. Serving your audience. Thank you so much, Barb. Barb is in the house, my mod, my hot mod. How are you doing, Barb? Yes, Crypto Cruising, Neil. What up? Now we can get cooking. Now we can really get cooking. Boy, Crypto, Neil, it's been an insane couple of days of live streaming, hasn't it? Nick, D, Flash, I mean, it's just been unbelievable. Thank you so much, Beth. I really appreciate it. Come on in, hit that like button if you haven't hit the like button. And I'm telling you right now, what I'm going to share with you today has been really based on my own very specific experience. Not only am I an author, live streamer, podcaster, business owner, but I also understand that I have made a very almost dramatic shift in my content creation by beginning to create more documentary style short films, AKA vlogs for my channel. And I've been getting insane engagement, insane reach. I've been getting insane emails and messages, just a bunch of insanity, really, just a bunch of insanity. I don't know why I go into accent when I say that word, but you have to. You can't say insanity. It doesn't sound, you have to say insanity. It's mere insanity. So it's so awesome to see you guys. So I'm going to be, yes, Crypto, Neil, totally. Thank you so much. I look so forward to this day. You guys have no idea. You guys get me so motivated. I appreciate you guys so much. It is just such a pleasure and an honor for you guys to be here. And it just absolutely means the world. Patty's here. Yes. Patty's in the house. Patty Broussard. How are you, Patty? Good to see you. Yeah. I mean, what an amazing live stream community we have here on YouTube with Niminati happening, with Flash happening. We've got other great content creators, Christian, Sethi, Barb, Patty, Crypto, Stony Creek's creating amazing content. Beth. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. It's such a great community, such a great little culture that we've created here. I'm just absolutely blessed. And I just want to say again, how appreciative I am of this community, how appreciative I am of you. It means the absolute world to me. Make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't already, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it as you come on in, because today we're going to talk about the art of storytelling. And it's really going to be based on a couple of things. I'm going to give you the 5 essentials of storytelling so you can boost engagement, skyrocket your engagement with your content, with your brand, with your online presence and your community. And we're also going to talk about personal experiences, tangible, real case studies that I have implemented within the past 6 months that have just taken my engagement, especially here on YouTube, a lot of my content to really the next level. And I think, I'll talk about how I transitioned from mostly talking head videos to videos that really implement these characteristics that I'm going to share with you today, the art of storytelling, and why this is so, I think, imperative for your business, for your brand, for your career, for your individual progression. You name it. If you're looking to create a presence on any of these platforms, a presence on this thing called the internet, you absolutely, I think, must incorporate, and you're going to get a lot out of these essential characteristics of storytelling, the art of storytelling, and how you can implement it for yourself. Really, we're going to be talking about how you can incorporate this with your copywriting, something I think that is so underutilized and underestimated when it comes to engagement. People get very, very lazy with their content copywriting, which is just a big, big facet to why your numbers are decreasing, why your engagement is decreasing. People don't put enough energy, they don't put enough thought into copywriting. And these essentials of storytelling are going to really play a huge factor in that, as well as video content creation, audio content creation, and visual content creation, because everything's a story. Everything. You are a story. We're all stories. Story is the epicenter of how we've come to be, how we know each other, how we understand each other. Our ancestors used to sit around campfires. There was no CNN, there was no Fox, there was no CBS. Our ancestors would sit around the campfire late at night and tell stories. And that's how you found out if Bob got eaten by a stegosaurus or what's happening on the other side of town. Story, story. It's all about storytelling. This is in our blood. It's in our DNA, and I can't wait to get into it. The Real Estate Whisperer. Yes. How are you? Oh, you've got some stories. I bet you got some stories. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't hit the like button, punch it, smash it, jab it, stab it. Hit that like button right now. I'd really, really appreciate it. So awesome to see you in here, Real Estate Whisperer. Doug's in the house. Yes, Doug. How are you, Doug? Good to see you, Doug Hewson. So happy. Am I saying that right? Is it Hewson or Hugh? It must be Hewson, right? I can't be mispronouncing that. I want to get Doug's name right for sure. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in. Make sure you hit that like button. It would mean the absolute world to me. And then we're going to get cooking real quick. How many people here feel that they understand or that they incorporate story and storytelling with their own content? I'd like to hear from you in the comments. What are some ways in which you incorporate story? And let me know, because I'm going to keep an eye on that as I'm going through what I'm going to give you today. The 5 essentials, just real fundamentals. I like to keep things very practical. I like to keep things very, very simple. I am not fond of the complex. I'm not fond of complexifying things. I try to make everything simple. There is an art to simplicity, and I really try hard to implement that. So I'm going to give you 5 fundamentals of storytelling. We're going to talk about Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, and then I'm going to give you a case study, which is how I've implemented this with specifically my video creation. I mean, I have 7 books on Amazon. Storytelling is in my blood. It's in my DNA, but I'm going to talk about very specifically how I really, not transitioned or pivoted, or I don't know, these words get really over abused, but just how my own evolution as a video creator, my own evolution as a content creator over the past 6 to 18 months has really amalgamized into this, format that I've been really executing lately, specifically with my short documentaries, AKA vlogs. I'm going to talk about that very, very specifically. Stony says, amazingly editing right now, a story and story video. Awesome. Real Estate Whisperer says, I use stories in all my videos, even my tips on Tuesdays. Fantastic. Weird Heather's here. Yes, Weird Heather. Hit that like button, Weird Heather. Good to see you. Ed. Patty says, I did a story with my Halloween video, but playing music covers challenge. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't checked out Patty's channel, and give me the name of that instrument again. Is it the Array? I mean, if there's the hashtag Array Artist. Really fantastic channel. I love what you're doing, Patty. The music is so cathartic and soothing and just really intriguing. me being a humble musician from my past days, we played a lot of blues, rock and roll, and sort of edgy kind of alternative stuff. I'm a big, big fan of unique esoteric instruments, and definitely, Patty, yours hits the nail on the head. Love it. Array Mira, Mbira, Mbira. Okay, very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, no, you're doing fantastic stuff. Luis, good to see you, Luis. Your stories need to have substance in the meat of the story to get your point across. Okay, let's get into it. I want to talk first, before I get into the 5 essentials, I want to talk first about the hero's journey, Joseph Campbell, which is sort of like a format or outline that really you can apply to kind of all stories. It's a beautiful, you could almost say like an archetype or a schematic on storytelling. How many people have heard of Joseph Campbell's The Hero Journey? It starts with, we have our hero who starts in ordinary, normal circumstances, who is then faced with some type of a conflict, some type of a situation that requires this individual to get up out of their ordinary circumstances and do something, achieve something extraordinary to resolve this said conflict. And the conflict then is aided by the archetype of a mentor, somebody who helps the hero to achieve what they need to achieve, whatever goal that is. And usually there's a lot of resistance from the hero, and eventually it culminates into this rising action that leads to the turning point in the story where the hero, starts to really gain traction and gain momentum and solve this said problem, which leads to a conflict resolution. This is something that you can literally apply to almost any story. And specifically, an example that I like to use is really the Star Wars example, which is something that, you look at Luke Skywalker, you look at him as the hero, somebody who was just an ordinary farm boy from Tatooine who, gets, basically thrusted into this galactic, apocalypse, if you will, by his step-parents being murdered by the dark side, right? By Vader and the dark side. And who's his mentor in Star Wars? Who's the mentor? Who is the mentor archetype who comes to help Luke Skywalker overcome his conflict and help him, aid him on his journey? Who is the mentor? I know you guys all know this, right? And this is just one example. You can really apply the hero's journey to a lot of different movies and different stories, both in film, cinema, in literary, playwright, even stories that are told in songs. This really, yes, Harry Potter is a great example of the hero's archetype. Absolutely, J.K. Rowling. I'm a big fan of J.K. Rowling. And here's one thing that I want to say. I want to do a caveat to all of these things. If you're just coming in, make sure you hit that like button, please. I'd really appreciate it. And share this. Share this with somebody who you may think needs to hear this, who may need some help. If you're wondering why my content, if you're wondering why I'm not getting as much engagement, why I'm not getting as much reach, why my brand, why my personal content or my business content isn't getting that same kind of reaction, this broadcast is going to help you. This video is going to help you immensely. First it started with, Patty, Yoda, right? For crying out loud, Yoda. Hello. It actually started with Yoda. It started with actually Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then it led to Yoda, but you're absolutely right. I was looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So Beth, you got it. And this has been, a Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey is something that you can literally apply to almost any story. There's all these, specifically and especially film, right? In the last maybe 50 to 60 years, you can really apply this to any kind of film. You take any film and it's got that sort of that arc, of the rising action, the conflict. And I'm going to get really more detailed into when it comes to the 5 essentials of what that means and how you can incorporate this for your content. So this is something that I wanted to kind of start with, because I want you to really deep dive into the hero's journey, and then you can start to see that tangible example in all sorts of stories. And then you start to realize, most of you who are watching this right now, Hybrid Steel in the house. Yes, No problem. No problem. I totally get it. Hybrid Steel, you are the man. You've been all over the place. Very, very impressed. So is Crypto. So is Patty. So have a bunch of you. Real Estate Whisperer. I think you were definitely in Nick's stream earlier as well. Make sure you hit that like button coming on in. Thank you, Hybrid. So most of you guys, where you're creating your content, you are the hero, right? So you're the hero in your own story. Specifically, I'll take my case and I'll talk more about my case later. So you can start to see most of these blueprints and schematics and almost, if you could almost call it like an outline, if you will. If you see this specific pattern repeat, rinse, repeat over and over again, you can start to realize how those elements can relate to how you can incorporate a more cogent narrative for yourself and how you can start to tell a story rather than just, hey, look at me, hey, look at me, or hey, I've got something to sell, or hey, I've got a product or a service, or hey, you need to give me attention. There's a definite art and science to storytelling, and it's been in our blood, in our DNA for thousands and thousands of years. It's something that moves us, that inspires us, that engages us, that hooks us, that ritualizes us, that we can create common bonds and friendships and marriages based on these same principles that we enjoy and specific stories that we love. So by looking at the hero's journey, by looking at how this normal individual is faced with some type of conflict, you usually get some kind of help from a mentor figure archetyped. There's usually a rising action where the hero struggles, the hero is refusing to accept help, the hero is not quite sure of himself, but then things start getting cooking, the mentor starts to come in there, there's examples, and he starts getting help to really resolve his conflict. You start seeing that pattern over and over again. And I always tell you guys this every single week. I tell the same thing to my students and my clients. Verify all these things that we're talking about every single week. I want you to verify them. The reason that I named my academy that I run, I'm the CEO of, beyondtheboxacademy.com, is because I want all of these learnings, all of these pointings to transcend that box of the classroom, to transcend this live stream, to transcend this box that is this screen that you're watching right now. It has to relate to your real life. It has to be experiential. If it's not experiential, it means goose egg. Squadoosh, zero, nada, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. So here, okay, let me see right here. Try not to miss send. Thank you so much, Ed. That means a lot to me. Flash, love your live streams. That means a lot to me. Luis says, hero content, emotion. I'm missing 3 more. Is not coming to mind right now. Hero content, emotion. Well, let me get into it. Let me get into it. So thank you, Luis, for prompting me there. The 5 essentials. And I wanted to caveat this. And please, please, please listen to this. Here's the cool thing about these frameworks or these constructs. They're meant to be broken. They're meant to be toyed with. They're meant to be, nothing is set in stone, that this is the absolute, formula. The last thing I want this live stream to purport or to project or convey is formulaic constructs when it comes to storytelling. Definitely not. You need to be spontaneous. You need to encapsulate you. You need to try to break the mold. You need to try to utilize your imagination as best as you can. The greatest stories on the planet, the greatest narratives that move us, that inspire us, a lot of them do follow these constructs and these frameworks. However, they make it uniquely wholly themselves by pushing the envelope, by breaking barriers, by trying to do things different, by bringing a different perspective. I'm not even really a big believer. A lot of you might this might cause a big stir, or you might be shocked by me saying this, but I don't even believe in originality. I don't think there is no such thing as originality. Everything, there's no, as some great book once said, there's nothing new under the sun. But what is unique, what is original, what is different, what does give us that sense of freshness is you employing your vision, you having the courage to say that my story needs to be heard, that you exist, that you have 2 cents that you can throw in to the game. And there are people who want to hear your story. There are people who will be moved by your story, inspired by your story, call to action. forced to engage in action based on your story. One of the things that I feel is one of the strongest elements when it comes to, or I should say, the strongest byproduct of a really well told story is that identification. When we get moved or inspired, or when we fully are just encapsulated by a story, usually the reason that we're encapsulated by that story is because we identify with the hero, we identify with the characters, we identify with the context. It makes us feel less alone, which is why these huge movements based on Harry Potter or Star Wars, and those are only few examples that come to mind. There's plenty of other stories. There's also cult films like Twin Peaks. More films that maybe Natural Born Killers is a movie that I know got a lot of controversy when I was younger. Fantastic film. If you've never seen Natural Born Killers, really, to me, merged the art film and the mainstream film in such a beautiful, unique way. Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. Fantastic story, fantastic filmmaking, fantastic narrative. Um, that's what I really want to kind of get across to you is all of these are frameworks, all of these are constructs, all of these are meant to help you to further enliven, to further thrust your own vision, your own imagination out there. Yes, it was very disturbing. It was a very disturbing movie, but that's okay. Some of the greatest films of all time, I mean, people talk about The Godfather, Stanley Kubrick's 2001 comes to mind. I think one of my favorite movies of all time is Barry Lyndon, which is directed by Stanley Kubrick. If you've never seen Barry Lyndon, the cinematography, the artwork, the lighting, the costume design, the unbelievable, profound, prolific attentiveness to detail and all the little minutia in that film is phenomenal. It's beyond anything I've ever seen. So I highly recommend that you check that out if you haven't seen that. You want to talk about creator chaos. Yes. How is creator chaos? Good to see you. Milky and Mallory Knox. Yes, Mickey and Mallory Knox. That's right. The never ending story. Oops, wrong channel. Why wrong channel, creator chaos? Yes. The first Crow film for me was a good story, and same with Fight Club. Yeah, absolutely, Hybrid Steel. Yeah, and why are those films? If you think about this is another thing that I want you guys to think about before I get into the 5 essentials. Add me, Nez. It's Crypto's second channel. Definitely, thank you. Definitely, Creator Chaos. I love it. Make sure you hit that like button. Okay, Neil, that's awesome. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. One of the things that you should do, one of the things that if you really want to incorporate these characteristics and these essentials that I'm going to be delivering to you today, that's going to help you with your copywriting, help you with your video creation, help you boost engagement, skyrocket that engagement with your audience. Try to figure out why is it, like, for example, Hybrid Steel talks about Fight Club, which I loved Fight Club, and it was a disturbing film. And just because a film is disturbing or a piece of content is disturbing doesn't make it excellent, doesn't make it really, really powerful. The Sixth Sense, don't even get me. I actually watched that again recently, and it still had a powerful impact on me. One thing that I want you to ask yourself, why is it that these stories have an impact on me? What is it about these stories? One of the things that I tell my writing students all the time is, in order to write or read like a writer, figure out the kind of choices that the writer made that gave you those feelings of impact, of emotion, of connection, of identification. Because identification is probably the strongest thing that's going to pull that emotional connection to your story, to your vision, to your purpose, is the strongest aspect of a story that's going to entice, engage, and boost audience participation for all of your content and your brand. By you identifying those emotional triggers in stories, movies, films that you love, you'll be able to employ that in the kind of content creation that you want to, engage with your audience. So this sort of master-apprentice relationship goes back thousands and thousands of years. If you want to figure out how to tell a very, very good story, specifically in this ecosystem, in this landscape that we're looking at, try to figure out what was it that pulled you into these stories. Was it the characters? Was it the setting? Was it the plot? Was it the dialogue? Was it the music? Was it the costume design? Was it the direction? Was it the, the way that the story ended or unfolded? You can really, if you can really pay attention to these stories and look for these elements that I'm going to share with you today, then you can kind of incorporate them and imbue them in your own system. And it's going to help you create that magnetic story for your own audience. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know in the chat if any of that makes sense. Boom, back. Neil's back. Yes, the Sixth Sense. Yes, hybrid. You have a connection to the character. Very cleverly written. Be able to engage with the viewer. Yes, absolutely. Weird Heather says, I love the Hunger Games series. I never actually saw the Hunger Games series. How crazy is that? I need to check that out. Flash in Your Pan. Dances with Wolves was a fantastic story. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Stony. So, and by the way, if you have questions at the end of this stream, throw them in the chat. Say, hey, Nez, this is what my channel is all about. Nez, this is what I'm all about. How can I incorporate story to further engage my audience? Let me know in the chat. I will help you. Leave that in the chat. Stony, I want you to leave in the chat because I know you do some really cool stuff. You have a very specific niche, and I'll tell you exactly how to incorporate story so that you can really boost your engagement, okay? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. I would love to help you. Okay, thank you, Beth. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share this out because somebody needs to hear this. Trust me. Yes, thank you, Stony. Okay, who's ready for the 5 essentials of storytelling? And I'm going to kind of be talking a little bit about each one, giving you some info on that and talking about that. By the way, Super Chats get first dibs if you have any questions. Super Chats always get first dibs, and I really, really appreciate it. Obviously, this is on your own accord, but if you do want to get first in queue, always know that the Super Chats get first dibs. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Weird Heather, for sharing on Twitter. You rock. I love you guys so much. I look forward to this Sunday so much. You guys you make my heart go. It absolutely gets me so excited. I love this community of fellow creators, fellow human beings. What's our tagline for Nez Nation? Bringing more humanness to this digitalness. Absolutely. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Okay, number 1. So there's 5 essentials, and I want to go through all of them. Why don't I do this? I'll just name all the 5 essentials, and then we can talk about each one specifically. So the first essential element of a story are the characters. Okay, obviously the characters. The second major essential element is the setting. The third major essential element of a story is the plot. The fourth is conflict. And the fifth is resolution. So we've got character, setting, plot, conflict, resolution. And not necessarily does it have to be in that order. This isn't in chronological order. This isn't like one's more important than the other or one follows the other necessarily. But those are the 5 essentials of a story. How many people in this chat right now know who John Cassavetes is? John Cassavetes was really famous for bringing like documentary style. Really, you could almost say he's probably one of the pioneers of vlogging. You could really say that. One thing that Cassavetes was famous for, he had a lot of great movies during the 60s and late 50s or even 70s, well into the 70s before he tragically passed. I think he was ill. I can't remember. But I love John Cassavetes films. And there's Faces. Faces is one that comes to mind, which is a powerful film. A little bit more on the artistic side, very character driven. All of Cassavetes' films are very character driven. And one of the lines, speaking of character, one of the lines that I'll never forget that Cassavetes said in an interview, he said, if you dive deep into character, if you go all in on character, the plot arises out of the character. The story sort of naturally unfolds out of that deep dive into the character. And the reason I'm saying this quote is because I know most of you are the main character in your narrative. You're the main character in your story, in your channel, in your content, in your brand. So just like myself, and I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you an example of how I incorporated storytelling more in my own content and have really skyrocketed engagement. That's why I want to really focus heavily on characters, because this is what you guys are doing, and it relates to everything that most of you guys who are, in a sense, solo content creators. Most of you, in my audience, you're not people who have like a social media team like some of these bigger people out there, or people who've been doing it, or people who have big companies. Richard Branson does not do his own editing, right? I mean, Mark Cuban does not post on Instagram by himself. I mean, he might, but I'm sure all of these guys have teams of people who help them create these videos and create this content that really, I mean, professionals that already know the 5 essentials of storytelling, to do it for them. If just to kind of give a brief definition of what I mean by character, let's dive into the first one. So remember, character, setting, plot, conflict resolution. Those are the 5 essentials. And if you go back to the hero's journey, which I discussed earlier, you can see how the 5 essentials of storytelling are all, encompassed within that framework. So characters are the individuals that the story is about. This is who, you have your main principal character. You maybe have supporting characters. You have your protagonist or your antagonist. Your protagonist is not necessarily the good guy versus the bad guy. The protagonist can sometimes be, I mean, you look at Walter White. Walter White wasn't necessarily a good guy, right? I mean, even though I love Breaking Bad, and I think we were talking about Breaking Bad. Whose stream were we talking about Breaking Bad? We were talking about, was it D's stream? I can't remember. Flash says, I wish I had a team. Yeah, don't we all? This reminds me of English 101. Well, it pretty much is. Absolutely. Yeah, hybrid. Nick and D's. That's exactly right. But no, you've never had an English class like this, Luis, because there ain't no professor like Professor Nez. I ain't your average professor. Do you know any professors that use the word ain't? This one does. Because I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but to me, grammar, don't even get me started on grammar. To me, grammar is the poison for language. It's the reason why most of us hated English. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, you need to communicate clearly and you need to have legible sentences. But so much emphasis has been put on grammar and proper grammar that it's completely obliterated our imagination, our spontaneity, and our ability to be flexible with our words, invent new words, have fun with words. I mean, could you imagine if Snoop Dogg followed grammar rules? He wouldn't have one record, right? Could you imagine James Brown? If James Brown said proper grammar would be, I feel well, rather than I feel good, right? Could you imagine if that song would have ever hit? So ain't a word. That's right, Beth. Ain't a word. It is now. So I tell my writing students all the time, F grammar, okay? As long as I can clearly understand you, as long as your purpose is legible and you're communicating in a way where I can at least follow along, F grammar. I really, truly believe that. I know that might drive some of you nuts, but in the words of Mark Twain, it's in the flexibility of language where the beauty lies. It's in the innovation. Language is a living, breathing thing. It evolves just like anything else. So to stick to some rigid rule, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of rules, period, especially when it comes to this dude right here and this dude right here in your chest. I've never really been a big, I feel good is actually grammatically incorrect. It should be I feel well. Because that type of grammar, when you're talking about, you don't say I did good on a test. You're talking about a specific performance. It's crazy, Heather. It's totally crazy. I totally agree with you. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with I feel good. But grammatically speaking, you're supposed to say I feel well. That's why I hate grammar. I hate it. And here's what's funny is the people who are inventing these grammar rules, it's almost like the asylum is run by the lunatics. The lunatics run the asylum. The grammar rules are changing constantly. They're changing constantly. Now, I'm not telling you, I'm not advocating go out there and just completely speak and communicate in broken English and just throw a tire iron to all grammar rules. Of course not. But what I'm saying is don't be so rigid. Don't be stiff about it. Don't be too chained by the rules of grammar. Don't be chained by any of these rules at all. These aren't even rules. These are more, I hate to say rules. They're more suggestions. I mean, even the construct and framework of storytelling and these different types of elements. Don't be chained by anything that I'm saying. Let it marinate. If it doesn't serve you, I always say this to everybody. I say this to my students. I say this to my clients. I say this to you, Nez Nation. Pick what serves you and discard the rest. Decide what serves you and discard the rest. And I promise you're going to be right as rain. Okay? So let's get back to character. Neil says, if you can understand the language and you're capable of understanding anything, I don't even know how to use grammar. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at the world of emoji. Look at the world of LOL and BRB and FOMO and LMFAO. I mean, that's what grammar is there in that? But people are communicating in these contractions day in, day out. And I have to respect that. I have to respect that emojis are a viable way of communicating. This is modern communications. What kind of professor would I be? What kind of writing professor would I be if I didn't acknowledge the times that we're living in and the predominant forms of communication that we're implementing? I would not be worth a salt in my job. Exactly, Weird Heather. Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. So character. Detailed, this also is achieved through detailed description of the character's physical attributes, personality traits. You need to really paint that vivid picture. Every story needs to have a main character. The main character really determines the way the plot will develop and is usually who will solve the problem that the story centers on. Aha! You notice how I said problem? Yes, that's getting into another element. Remember conflict. I want to talk about conflict, okay? So you can really get a good idea about the character by painting that vivid picture, by divulging what their characteristics are, their interests, how they behave around other people. Do they have a specific way of talking, a specific way of looking at the world? Those are all really character defining aspects that really make the audience more engaged. If you just have some blasé plain character that doesn't really do much or is just very kind of neutral on every subject or every topic or every exchange, then you're going to have neutrality reaction. You're going to have a very, very unexciting, unengaged audience because you've got to have it. I'm not saying you have to have an extreme character, but your character has to have a definitive point of view. Your character has to behave, act, think, look at the world in a very specific, unique form and shape and way so that people can identify. Remember identification. Identification is really important. I mean, entertainment is entertainment. That's fantastic. I mean, most of you guys think that I can be very entertaining. I mean, I love being loosey-goosey and having as much fun. None of this stuff is rehearsed. Every single piece of content I've ever put out, none of it is rehearsed. All of my actual professional speaking gigs, none of it is rehearsed. I'm a big believer. I trust the magic elixir of spontaneity because I go deep dive into who I am. I deep dive into my concepts. I don't talk about things that I don't know about. I stick to my lane and I go all in, and that's it. That's why I'm able to deliver. That's why I'm able to execute, which seems like it's off the cuff, but I've been preparing my whole life for these. I've been preparing my whole life. I hope that makes sense. Oh my God. WTF are you talking about? What, Beth? What are you talking about? Hybrid Steel says, English language has been messed up so much over time. It's just an evolution of speech. Yeah, it is. It is. And nobody really has the rules on that. I oohed entertainment in my contact. Yes. Hey, Alfredo. Good to see you, Alfredo. Make sure you hit that like button coming in, Alfredo. Good to see you. Share this out, please. It would really mean the world to me. Let's get everybody in on here. Remind people it's Sunday, y'all. It's Nez Nation Live time, y'all. Hello. Stony, I'm afraid that's where I've fallen. I don't do drama well or have some huge thing that needs resolution each episode. Here's the big thing. Stony, I'm so glad you said that. It doesn't have to be huge. Look at Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? Look at Larry David. Some of the stuff, every single story, look at Seinfeld. The whole show, Seinfeld, was really about nothing. People think that it has to be this dramatic, galactical, Star Wars, Harry Potter, the world is going to end type of conflict resolution. It absolutely doesn't have to be. It absolutely doesn't have to be. Some of the best stories on earth are very, very simple. I mean, I'm going to take a very specific content creator like Casey Neistat. if you look at each one of his films, or maybe Dan Mace, I'm really impressed with Dan Mace. Jack Conte is a really good storyteller with video. And I'm using these examples because we're on YouTube right now. Those of you listening on the podcast and listening on the replay, by all means, I think all of this applies to many different genres and many different mediums. But just taking in the case of YouTube, since we're on YouTube during this live stream, here's the thing that's really interesting is you look at Casey Neistat stories. I mean, 90% of them really don't end with any sort of resolution. If anything, they end with, maybe a continuation of something else, or they end with just some kind of final thought, or just some like, hey, this is the way it is. Or sometimes they end so abruptly, you're like, wow, that wasn't even an ending. It didn't even feel like, yeah, I agree, Hybrid Steel. I think Dan Mace really has impressed me. I was kind of resisting subscribing to his channel because I don't have time to watch too many channels. I'm not saying that in a dismissive way. It's just the truth. Being a family man, having 2 kids, a wife, a mortgage, working a day job, plus a night job, plus an afternoon job, plus a weekend job, plus running my businesses, plus being a content creator. I don't have any time at all. 0 time. But, I want to really drive this home, especially it's a great question. So I think a lot of people feel this way. They feel, you don't even have to be dramatic. It doesn't even have to be dramatic. Comedy has this same type of formula, or I hate to say formula, but kind of pattern. Entertainment, family, children channels, kid channels. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It definitely does not have to be conflict. In the very nature of the term, does not necessarily mean it has to be this grandiose, heavily dramatic conflict. I really want to make that clear. Church, yes, the Church of Nez. Thank you, Beth. After I saw his work with Casey, it was just good to see a different. Yeah, absolutely. Church, what you mean? Church, yes. Thank you. Alfredo, day and night job, family, wife. I'm in the same boat. Absolutely, Alfredo. Hello. I know most of you guys are in the same boat. Like I said earlier, a lot of us are having a hard time doing this full time, doing content creation, creating our, channels, creating our brands. A lot of us are not doing this full time. Some of us are, but not all of us. Beth says, I love watching movies with my husband. So many just end. Yeah, no resolution. It drives him, which is hilarious to me. You sound like my wife, Beth. You love driving me crazy. My wife loves doing that. Louise says educational, entertainment, and inspirational, 3 types of content. Yeah, or you can combine all 3. Hybrid Steel, we're waiting for our second any day now, we think. Oh, really? Interesting. Yes. Interesting. Alfredo, I'm transitioning where I'm on the market looking for work. Fantastic. I may be able to help you with that. DM me, Alfredo. I may be able to help you. I don't know if most of you guys know this, but I am an executive career coach. I work for LinkedIn as well. I'm a LinkedIn consultant. So I help people, with their resume, with their interviewing, with their LinkedIn profile, so they can brand themselves appropriately and get the gig that they want. So look me up, Alfredo, DM me on Facebook or something like that. By the way, before I forget, I want to do this early because I'd like to get more people in on this. I still don't think that you can do this on desktop. So let me just copy the group link. I would love for you guys to join. Our private YouTube chat. I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me go. I apologize for the abrupt stop here. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to put this in the, I don't know why I can't do this on desktop. It's really strange, but I'm going to put this in the chat right here. And I want you guys, if you're not already in there, get in there, especially you, Alfredo. Get in there. You got to get in there, okay? This is our private sort of almost like the YouTube's version of a private Facebook group. Yes, Discord. I have not done Discord. I maybe need to learn a little bit more about that. So character. So I would say one of the best ways for content creators to dive deep into character, whether they're talking about themselves, personal brand, or a business brand, I think the best thing to do is to show the 3-dimensionality of your character. I spoke about Jack Conte recently, and Jack Conte just did a video on Elle of the Mills. and he talked about why she's so why she creates content and why she's growing so fast, and what is it about her content that's just total, it's just awesome. It's phenomenal. And I do like Elle of the Mills. I've actually subscribed to her channel too. Maybe I'll leave the link in the notes below, in the description below. It's a great video because it really speaks to a lot of the things that we're talking about in this stream, which is this unabashed, transparent, very three-dimensionalized picture of who this character is. It's not always happy. It's not always perfect. It's not always fun. It's not always one way. Good characters are multidimensional. And for you guys, which I know most of you guys are content creators coming from that solopreneur sort of vibology, it's you who are the main character in your own story. It's you who are the main character in your content. So what I would say is the most powerful way of engaging with character and painting that vivid picture and having a dynamic character that is very complex, unique, and interesting, and more important, engaging, is a character that is multidimensional, not always being this sort of, I like to call it putting on your Insta face or your Instagram face, which is, hey, everything's just happy, free, and beautiful, and unicorn and coconuts and yachts. That's just not real life. But actually inviting your audience in, actually projecting vulnerability, actually communicating your truth, actually having the audacity, the balls, if you will, to tell the world, this is how you see this. This is how you see this situation. This is how you see that situation. This is how you feel about this. And it doesn't necessarily all have to be business, 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 business. I do a lot of behind the scenes on my Snapchat, Instagram. If you guys want to follow me there, I'm Professor Nez, pretty much on all social. Just go to professornez.com and you can click on the social icons and you can follow me. On Twitter, I'm Professor Nez as well. On Twitter, this is a perfect example. I shared an incident that we had at Chili's, which I hate Chili's. We don't even go to Chili's really by choice. But when you have two kids that are under the age of 7, it makes it really easy to just go to these simple places where you don't really give an F what you eat. It's just all about the kids. I went on a Twitter kind of tirade, if you will, talking about this incident that happened at Chili's. If you're interested, go check out my Twitter at Professor Nez. But I'm sharing insights that are not always beautiful, that are not always, look at me, Professor Nez, I'm Mr. Perfect, mindset coach, life coach, business coach, branding coach, Professor Nez. I also have vulnerabilities. I also have fears. I also have a dark side. I also have a real side. I also have frustrations. I also have stress. I also have problems, right? When you're raw and you're truthful and you're transparent and you're genuine and you have the audacity and the courage to reveal that to the world, your character is real. Your character is multidimensional. That's what I want to share with you. Beth says, Weird Heather says, never know what people mean by a 3D character. I'll tell you, Heather, what I mean by a 3D character. I just mean a 3-dimensional, you could almost say 4-dimensional character. A character that is not just one-dimensional. You only get like one version, one side, one perspective, one aspect of that character. I mean, a character that is fully fleshed out. That's what I mean by that. I hope that makes sense. I'm happy to clarify if that doesn't. Yes, exactly, Beth. Thank you. As in not flat, with a personality and backstory, not just Dick and Jane. Thank you, Beth. I'm so grateful for you, Jeff. If you're just coming in, make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to share. I'd love for y'all to share. Alfred Tigolo, are you on Instagram? Absolutely. I'm Professor_Nez on Instagram. Weird Heather. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Fantastic. Super Dave USA. How are you, Super Dave? Good to see you. All right. Come on in, Super Dave. Hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Hit the like button. I think, is it down below? Heather or Beth? Somebody tell me. Luis, where's the like button? Is it down there or is it up there? I think it's down there, right? It's got to be down there. Why wouldn't it be down there? Now I'm like going to go check this out. So how many people, let me know if that makes sense when I talk about, if you really truly want to engage and create a character that is complex, unique, innovative, and interesting, is to create that 3-dimensional. Down. Thank you so much. Join me on the dark side. Thank you, Creator Chaos. I just smashed the like button. Thank you, Super Dave. You are the man. capital M, lowercase a, capital N, the man. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, the second element. Who's ready for the second element? Yes, Neil. Good point. Humans are like onions, many layers. And I think most people have a fear. I really, truly believe that most of you guys watching this right now and watching this on the replay and listening to this on the podcast. By the way, I have a podcast too. If you go to professornez.com/podcast, we're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Stitcher, and most of these live streams end up on the podcast. I would love it. It would mean the absolute world to me if you guys would go on iTunes, because it really matters on iTunes, and give us a review on iTunes, 5-star preferably. I mean, why wouldn't you give me a 5-star review, right? If you have an iPhone right now, I wouldn't even mind if you left the live stream right now, went to Nez Nation Live, a personal branding 101 podcast, and left me a 5-star review on iTunes. It would really mean the world to me. Thank you so much. I think most of you guys watching, listening, and checking under your mic, Nez, thank you. Right there. It's right there. There's the like button. Hit that like button. Thank you, Neil. I appreciate it. Thanks, Shrek. Are you calling me Shrek, Beth? How am I Shrek? Because I'm a big ogre. That's okay. I've been called worse. Thanks, Shrek. Beth, by the way, nobody roasts like I do. I'm a master roaster. So if you're going to bring it, I'm going to dish it because I love getting it. I love it. I think people take themselves way too seriously nowadays. And I love making fun of myself, and I love making fun of you too sometimes. So you'll kind of hear me give like Luis or Gord, people that I've known for a while. I'll give them a hard time all day, every day. And it just makes things fun and interesting. I love roasting. It's just fun. You can roast me all you want. I can take it, because if I'm going to dish it, I definitely need to take it. Most of you guys watching this, most of you guys checking this out, you feel that you need to project only one dimension of your character. Okay. You feel that, I don't know if I want to share this side of me. I don't know if I want to share how I feel about certain things. You're kind of holding back. Well, here's two reasons why I think you should stop doing that. Number one, it's going to feel a lot better to really go all in on who you are. It just feels a lot better. When you're always kind of tiptoeing on that edge, it's misery. It's a perfect misery, as a matter of fact. By just letting loose and, finally making that decision, I'm going to be in capital M-E, no matter what the consequences, there's a beautiful freedom to that. There's a beautiful warmth in your chest. It's good for your immune system. It's good for your mind, body, spirit. It's good for everything. It's good for your business. Number two, the people who are repelled by that are the people that you don't want in your audience anyway. So why would you want to cater a false image to false audience members for what? To have an extra couple of followers, extra couple of subs or views or what have you? Doesn't do any good. I know influencers, so-called influencers, who actually pay thousands of dollars a month for fake followers and likes. I don't even understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. This isn't about likes or follows. It's not about that. It's about building a real community, a real audience of people who actually have something to say, to motivate each other, inspire each other, challenge each other, be there for each other, support each other, challenge each other. That's really important, to challenge each other. So I think a lot of you guys are holding back by painting that three-dimensionality of your character. And I hope that this will help. I hope that this will motivate you. Do I see Roz? Do my eyes deceive me? Or do I see Roz Bundy? Boundy or Bundy? Roz Boundy in the house. Good to see you, Roz. I'm so happy you're here. You know what to do, Roz. You know the tradition. When you come on in, you need to smash that like button. You need to hit that like button, Roz. Right now, go hit it. Boundy. Okay, thank you. Bound E. Roz Bound E. Thank you so much. Good to see you, Roz. Real Estate Whisperer says, yeah, I take myself way too seriously. We can do that at times. But it creates friction Shrek said onions have layers. Roasting Neil. Okay, thank you, Beth. Don't worry. My wife's called me way worse. There's nothing wrong with you. You can call me Shrek if you want. Let me tell you something, Real Estate Whisperer. I know we've all been around those people who take themselves severely seriously. I don't even know if those two words go together, but it creates this friction in the atmosphere. It creates this unease. Have you ever noticed that? you kind of constantly feel like you're walking on eggshells. You're sort of not sure if anything you say or what you're going to say. I mean, you could say, pass me the ketchup, and that might come across as offensive. I think one of the greatest things that I can convey to all of you, Nez Nation, right now is start learning if you haven't by now. And believe me, it's never too late. I have clients who are in their 70s, and I teach them about mindset. I teach them about flow. I teach them about, self-perception, self-investigation, self-awareness. Start now to kind of look at yourself in a different light. Look at the world with a brand new pair of eyes. We're all going to be gone way too soon. This life is way too short. Prioritize. What are the things that are the most important? What are the things that are the most important? Taking yourself too seriously in a world where we're literally one tiny blue dot in a ocean, in oceans and billions of oceans of stars and galaxies out there. We're not even a speck of dust on the universe's Balzac. Did I really just say that? Sometimes I get too passionate. This video is not advertiser friendly, but we're literally not. I mean, I'm getting really, really heated up here. If you can learn to just look at yourself with a breath of lightness, if you could just try to understand that nothing in this world, and I mean nothing, should be taken too seriously, you're going to feel this chain, this anchor, this metallic jacket just start to melt off of your chest and your shoulders. And you're going to feel this lightness of being. You're going to feel a lot more free. You're going to feel a lot more happy. It's about happiness too, really. That's what it's all about. I hope that makes sense. Yes, thank you so much, Hybrid Steel. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Roz. I really appreciate that. Real Estate Whisperer says, I'm joking about taking myself seriously. You must have never seen a video I have done. I'm going to go check that out tonight, and I will leave some comments. Thank you, Real Estate Whisperer. So you're being facetious, but I am actually, speaking on something that I think a lot of us can relate to, though. And I think a lot of us maybe don't even want to admit to this. And I think a lot of you guys watching on the replay, checking this out, you might be thinking, wow, I can really relate to that. We've all been around people who've taken themselves too seriously. It's just not worth it. It's just not. It's just not. So hopefully that makes sense. It is offensive. You didn't say please. Sorry, Word Heather. Please smash that like button. Yes. Hybrid Steel, you need to watch some of the creator. I will. Is no professional. She's very funny. I love it. I will. I need to check out I checked out Patty's channel recently. Loved it. And I definitely want to check out all of your guys' channels. For sure. Thank you so much, Hybrid Steel. So that's really character. Now, the next thing is setting. And if just to kind of give you a brief definition of setting, the setting is the location of the action. Okay. Just the environment, the surroundings of the story. For example, going back to Casey Neistat, most of his stories, the setting is New York City, or the setting is his studio. Most of my vlogs or my stories or my documentaries take place in the classroom, or just in my city, in my town, where I'm traveling, what I'm doing. Am I giving a speech? Am I giving a presentation? Am I meeting with a student? Am I in front of a classroom? Am I giving a presentation? Things of that nature. Think about the setting that will really make sense to the character, that gives context to the character, that gives context to who you are and how you can better communicate your story. Context is really important. So for the sake of video creation, it's really important to location scout, I think, especially if you're planning on making a short film or a documentary or AKA a vlog. I really have a hard time saying vlog or calling myself a vlogger, which maybe that's just my own hang up. I need to get over it, just because I feel like everybody and their mother is vlogging now, and it's just become so over abused. I'm not a fan of doing things that everybody else is doing. Can anybody relate to me on that? If everybody's doing it, I would choose not to do it. I just can't. I don't know. There's something that feels, I have a massive recoil from that. I don't know why. It has nothing. I hope it's not, I don't want to come across as pretentious or anything like that. I'm really not trying to, but I cannot stand doing what everybody's doing. I can't. I would rather just try to go do something else. Flash says, well, now I know you've checked out mine. You come to my live streams when you can too. Yes. Definitely Flash. I've checked you out. I will Hybrid Steel for sure. I promise. Yeah, I get it. I don't like the popular crowd. Weird Heather. Thank you, Weird Heather. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's not necessarily popular crowd or cool kids or I mean, I can't really pinpoint it yet, and I probably will be able to, but it's just I'd rather. So that's my hesitation. Maybe it's stupid. It's probably just ridiculous. I should just say, yeah, I do vlogs. I just have a hard time. Maybe it's just my own hang up psychologically, but that's just how I feel. Setting. If you're doing copywriting for your posts, instead of saying, for example, hey, you should really come check out this ebook that I have, start telling a story, set the mood, set the setting of what it is that your ebook, if you're trying to get people to come check out your ebook or come check out your video or come check out your article, what is the story? What is the backdrop? What is the setting for how that piece of content came to being? That's going to be a great way to connect to your audience. Okay, so that setting's pretty obvious, but it's an important element in storytelling. It's an important element that you need to consider. You need to think about when you're creating content that you want that is very engaging to your audience, okay? I'm a vlogger, though, says Weird Heather. Well, I'm weird enough that I'm probably my own category. You definitely are. That's for sure, Weird Heather. Hybrid Steel, everyone seems to be asking for subs nowadays, so hey, can you sub to other channels? I don't do it as everyone seems to be doing it. Yeah, exactly, Hybrid Steel. And plus, that's not cool anyway. That's a really douchey way of doing it. Neil, be the mold and break the mold. And don't follow the sheep, be the wolf. Love it. Neil, that sounds like some merch right there. Very nice, Neil. Plot. Let's move into plot. Okay. The plot, which I think most of you guys kind of know, is the actual story around which the entire narrative takes place. So a plot should have a clear beginning, middle, and end, with all the necessary descriptions and all the necessary exposition, if you will, so that the reader, writer, audience can make sense and follow along from start to finish. A good beginning, a good middle, a good ending. Again, I like to have examples. I think examples make for a great, way of learning how to tell a story well. The people who you like, the content creators that you love, look at the way that they're creating their stories. How do they start? What is it about their beginning? How do they kind of, keep the action rising, perpetuate the characters into these situations in the middle? And then how do they resolve everything? What's the ending like? And I mean, according to Beth, and I think modern storytelling, I think predominantly takes this shape. All of these endings are very subjective. I mean, some of them aren't even real endings. I mean, thinking about your prototypical Hollywood ending or cinematic ending, it just doesn't even apply anymore. Do I see Ross Brand in the house? Yo, Ross, we have a tradition here. As soon as you come in, you got to hit that like button. So hit that like button, Ross. I'd really appreciate it. Good to see you from Livestream Universe. We've got Ross Brand in the house. How you doing, Ross? Good to see you. Awesome to have you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So, when it comes to plot, okay, when it comes to plot, I always say a good thing to do is to look at the examples of others. So, for example, I did a vlog over the summer where I talked about, I'm going to use all of these. Okay, as an actual case study. But I was talking about, I had a traffic ticket. And hey, Stony Creek, if you're still here, Stony Creek, let me know if you're still here, because I want to address how you can incorporate these elements of storytelling for your content. Okay, I want to address that. I had a minor traffic citation. It was a minor traffic citation, not a big deal. Nothing as dramatic as Luke Skywalker saving the galaxy. Okay, not even close, as a matter of fact. But because I feel that I have a unique way of looking at things, I'm a unique character. I'm a three-dimensional character. I have wants, interests, likes, dislikes, things I love, things I hate about myself and the world around me. And I bring all of that to every plot, every story. I was hoping to make something interesting out of this vlog. And I felt like it was very interesting. I think it was vlog number 5 or 6. I can't remember. It might have been vlog 5. If you go to my playlist, you'll be able to check that out. So, having a beginning, middle, and end. So the beginning was me kind of giving the audience, context as to what happened. What is the deal? Where am I going? What's happening? You can see this from a lot of great storytellers, right? And so you could do this in your copywriting too. So if you're writing copy and you're trying to elicit a plot or elicit some type of a story narrative, one of the things that I think are really powerful is to give context and background. Don't just post an image, don't just post a video, don't just post an article. And I think copywriting is something that every one of us, myself included, are overlooking. It's a powerful tool to boost engagement on all your posts on pretty much every platform, right? Most of us, we look at the description of a video, the title, the thumbnail, that has a lot to do. I mean, you could almost say that's copywriting in YouTube sort of terms, right? I mean, that's a way of engaging. It gives us a little bit of context of what's behind the video. So having a beginning, middle, and end, something that's undramatic or not galactical like Star Wars, it's totally me. It's totally unique. It's totally what I project to my audience. And it's just a way for people to get a little bit more than just, hey, I'm a personal branding coach, or hey, I'm a LinkedIn consultant or a business owner. It gives them insight into my own backstory. It gives them insight into who I am as a human being, how I look at the world and how I see things and how I experience things, so that you can more closely identify. It's really giving my ideal audience more of a clear picture of who I am so that they can clearly make a decision. Is this the guy we want to kind of follow or not? I hope that makes sense. Crypto cruising. All right. An outrage. They stopped Nez. Yes, that's exactly right, Ross. How could they? How could you stop Nez? If there's ever been a bigger contributor to society, I dare you to find me one. And don't you think, Ross and everybody else, I should have like a free pass? I should never get a traffic citation, no matter what I do. Neil says, now here is a Neil quote. One day you're going to stop waking up, so start waking up now and be the best you can be. Yes, Neil. Thank you so much. That is brilliant. You rock. That is perfect. I couldn't agree more. Boy, hashtag merch right there. I mean, hashtag truth right there. Totally. So I'm going to give you that vlog scenario as when I finish the other two elements. And the other two elements are conflict. Every story has a conflict. Whether that conflict is a traffic citation that I need to go figure out or saving the galaxy. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but it's really just about kind of a character's attempt to, it's really what motivates the character. It incentivizes the character to action. Is this conflict? Otherwise, the character would just, lay in bed and do nothing, pretty much. The conflict is sort of like it's the perpetuator of the plot is what it is. And it enables the protagonist and gives the audience, something that, okay, this is a goal. This is a compass. This is a lighthouse that's going to guide the rest of the narrative. I hope that makes sense. And then resolution is simply a solution to the problem on which way the action is resolved. So for example, in my vlog, My Day in Court, I talked about, for all you've done for society. That's right. That's right, Ross. In my Every Rose Has a Thorn. Sorry, the song popped in my head. Exactly, Real Estate Whisperer. No problem at all. I love it. I definitely want to. I love your channel name, by the way, the Real Estate Whisperer. That's fantastic. I love that. So in my example, so I had a beginning. I'm the character. I got the traffic citation. It was interesting because at the end of that vlog, the resolution was, talk about klutzy McGillicuddy. I basically went to this courthouse and I didn't solve anything. It was actually not even I thought, and I say this in the vlog, I thought that I was actually going there to defend myself, but actually it was just an arraignment. That's all it was. It was just how do you plead, basically, which is what an arraignment is. And it was just ridiculous. I didn't even have to go there. It was absolutely pathetic and a waste of time, but at least I got a vlog out of it, which was kind of cool. And what was interesting is talk about, that unique character perspective, adding dimension to your characters. Even if your character is not you in your own content, giving it that multidimensionality. I started going off and really talking about how California drivers drive me crazy, in a very Larry David fashion. I started really kind of ranting and raving about the Fast and the Furious and how much I hate this movie series. And I just hate the idea of driving in these 2-ton killing machines 100 miles an hour and thinking that's cute or sexy or fun or cool, which it most definitely is not any of those things. Um, that's what my entire vlog was about. And it ended on almost like a 4-minute, 5-minute rant about what I feel is important. And it dealt with mindset, it dealt with priority, it dealt with all the inspiring things that I try to talk about, or the things that inspire me all the time on my channel with you guys, my audience, Nez Nation, my wonderful family, you guys. And so it was a very simple vlog. There was no real like heavy duty plot or heavy duty drama. So Stony Creek, I hope you're still here. Mentioning earlier, I don't have anything really dramatic to say or dramatic to talk about, or my channel's not really has any kind of drama elements. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It doesn't have to be considered dramatic or considered something heavy duty like saving the universe or anything even near that. Your story is your story. And some of the best stories on earth are extremely simple, are extremely down to earth and anchored in just real world problems. I mean, look at reality TV, which is what vlogging really is. Vlogging is just reality TV. I mean, why do people watch reality TV? Why did reality TV like Survivor or The Real Housewives, why did it get so big? If you look at, I mean, my wife watches The Real Housewives. I'm not dissing the show, but it's just ridiculous. They have no problem. These are such ridiculous problems. Like one entire show was about what somebody said at a cocktail party at another rich person's house that offended them when they said about their birthday cake. The whole show was about that. Ridiculous. And it's one of the most popular shows. So your story is your story. Make your story wholly unique to who you are. Have the conviction, have the audacity to make yourself vulnerable. Have the audacity to speak your truth. Have the courage to show all sides of yourself, not just your Insta face, not just coconuts and yachts, not just unicorn and ice cream. Who are you really? If you start to peel away and you start to convey all of those little itty bitty peccadillos that all of us have, you're going to attract the right type of audience. You're going to let people in. It shows them that you care. It's the real science behind VIP, fly on the wall, behind the scenes, cinema verite, documentary style filmmaking. It's the reason why we love documentaries. It's that window glimpse into somebody else's world. You're going to win, I promise. That's how you're going to do it. And another caveat to everything that I'm talking about today, when I talk about Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, when I talk about these 5 essentials, and just to kind of review the 5 essential elements of a story: character, setting, plot, conflict, resolution. All of these are just suggestions. All of these are just kind of hopefully going to help you sort of identify all of these different universalities of storytelling. You have to make it unique. You have to make it your own. Break the rules. They're not rules. They're suggestions. They're little pointings. They're not rules. I hate rules. I hate rules when it comes to anything creatively based. All the greatest content creators, all the greatest filmmakers, all the greatest writers, all the greatest musicians, they broke all the rules when it came to storytelling. All the greatest advertisers, because advertising, really good marketing. Some of you guys run a business. Some of you guys understand the power of marketing and getting your message out there. It's all storytelling. That's what it all is. How many people felt this was helpful? Give me some emojis in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat. And let me know if you have any questions. That's why I prefer sunflowers. It's a much happier flower. Weird Heather. Yes. Luis, on your thumbnails, evoke an emotion that will get people to win the click. Yes, that is beginning the story visuals with context. As a matter of fact, exactly right. Your thumbnail is probably the number one. I think Nick talked about this at Vid Summit when he talked about click-through ratio. So your thumbnail is the beginning. It's like the book cover, right? It's the title. It's everything. It's the cover art of an album. If it doesn't allure, if it doesn't tell stories, if it doesn't convey meaning, if it doesn't entice, then you're going to miss out. and they're going to move on. There's too many other thumbnails to compete with. So you've got to have exactly. Ranting is good for the soul. Thank you, Hybrid. Stony Creek, let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd like to answer specifics. Ross says, I have seen Larry David's acceptance speech. Yes, I have. It's very, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ross. I've pretty much watched everything. I love Larry David. I think Larry David is the reason why Seinfeld. I'm not even a big fan of Jerry Seinfeld. I don't even think Jerry Seinfeld was that funny. He's clever. He's intelligent. I don't know if he's really funny. I think Larry David's way funnier. I mean, those of you might not know this. George, the character George Costanza is based on Larry David. It's Larry David to a T. All of those incidences, all those experiences are all based on Larry David for George. I try for the Windows setting, just a look into what is happening with a little bit of science and experience added in. Yes, love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Alfredo. Thank you, Roz. Thank you, Beth. Have you watched Comedians in Cars? Yes, I have. I do like that show because the focus isn't always on clever Jerry. And it's sort of a behind the scenes, isn't it? You kind of get a little taste, of who these people are, who these comedians that we follow, that we love. Yes, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee is a great show. I do like that. It's on Netflix now, as a matter of fact. Thank you, Luis. Always a pleasure, Luis. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, Luis, you rock. As always, Nez Nation, you guys absolutely rock. I love y'all more than anything. I'm happy to take any questions, super chat questions, get first dibs. So, if you feel like donating, that's entirely up to you. You don't have to. But if you have a question, hey, Nez, I have a question about this. How can I relate these elements that you talked about to my own channel? Hey, ask me a question. I'm happy to answer it. I'm happy to help you guys out. Again, I want to kind of really reiterate this. All of these elements, all of these details, all of these sort of concepts are not to make you think more. I don't want any of these concepts to make you think more. I don't want you to overthink anything. Get out there and just start creating. Get out there and start communicating. Get out there and start pushing your story out there to the world and watch what happens. Watch what happens. I'm not sure how I can add a story to a game review. Oh, you can totally add a story to a game review, I think. Hybrid Steel, you can talk about, well, what's the story behind you in gaming? Why gaming? Why this particular game? Is there a story behind this game of why you particularly wanted to review this game, or why you particularly enjoy this game or don't enjoy this game? You could definitely paint a story about a gaming review channel. I can think of a million ways that you could tell a story and make it even more riveting, rather than just saying, hey, this is a game I'm going to review. By starting off with, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Like, for example, the game Fortnite. Everybody's playing Fortnite. I was, sitting at home, minding my own business. And then my cat got sick, and I took my cat to the veterinarian, and it turned out to be this ordeal. The veterinarian was stuck in his office. He locked himself in his office. He wasn't coming out. Come to find out, he was playing Fortnite with 100 other people online or what have you. And he was neglecting his business. And I called the police. I mean, you could just go in a million directions. Like, you can go in a million directions. Telling a story gives context, gives framework, and it ties in the emotionality. It ties in relatable features of being a human being to whatever it is that you're trying to get across. I hope that makes sense. I'm not, Neil, what made you start YouTube? Like, what moments brought the thought, I'm going to do this? Love it. That's a great question. Alfredo, game reviews are interesting, especially in terms of esports. Yes. YouTube, what got me into starting YouTube is that I understood that first of all, I had the audacity to share what I wanted to inspire and move people and empower people. There's nothing I love more. And I've said this before. I'm not Mother Teresa. It's not because I'm some kind of do-gooder. It's very selfish, actually. It's because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel purposeful as a human being. And I knew that YouTube was an amazing way to get that across. I knew the power of video was powerful, way more powerful than sending out just a newsletter or articles or writing books. I was originally an author. I wasn't really a video content creator until maybe 2-3 years ago. I was originally an author. I have 7 books on Amazon, Neil. And so what got me into YouTube was I believed in what I had to share. I believe I had a lot to share. I have a lot of experience. I've been writing, speaking, communicating, failing, succeeding, triumphing. I had a lot of anxiety and depression as a young man that I got through that perfect hell. And a lot of my books are about that. And I wanted to share what I've learned with the world. And I felt YouTube was a perfect platform for that. And I was always a film buff. I mean, one of my first majors in college years ago was cinema. I mean, me and my friends used to make home videos all the time when I was a kid. I loved Scorsese. I loved Kubrick. I loved Francis Ford Coppola. I loved George Lucas. I loved, Spielberg. I loved John Cassavetes. I loved Federico Fellini. I loved Antonioni. I love these filmmakers, Ingmar Bergman. Film has really been the language of identification for me. And so I did a lot of acting. I did a lot of producing. I did a lot of directing. The beautiful thing about YouTube is YouTube eliminates the gatekeeper. Yeah, I don't need to go to a studio anymore. I don't need to go to a production company anymore. I can go directly to you with this beautiful platform. It's a beautiful tool. YouTube is a beautiful space to get your message out there. So I knew there was something to this YouTube thing, and I knew that this was a great way for me to share my story, help people, inspire people, motivate people, help them with their branding, with their messaging, so that they can really be happy. That's it. They can do what they want to do. They can live a more purposeful life. It just makes me feel amazing when I get messages from you guys that say, Nez, this happened to me last semester. I had a student send me a message saying, I watched one of your videos on anxiety and overthinking. And he said, he came to me to class. He said, I watched your video and I want you to know I was pretty close to offing myself, but your video made me stop. Your video helped me. That is like, I'm going to start crying right now. That's it. That's the reason I'm on YouTube. That feeling that I got, that unbelievable feeling that like, man, I need more of that. That feeling of reaching people, that feeling of, you're good at this, Nez. I feel like there's not a lot of things that I'm good at. I mean, Neil, there's just not a lot of things that I'm good at. But when it comes to this, I feel like I'm one of the best. When it comes to communicating my message through this medium, I don't feel like there's too many people who are better than me. I really honestly don't. I feel I'm a natural on camera. I feel like I'm a natural born communicator. My mouth is my ultimate currency. I'm a wielder of words. I'm a lover of language. I feel like I was born to do this. It's my duty to be on YouTube. Really, one of my favorite writers of all time, Jack Kerouac, I'll never forget what he once said. He said that I felt it was my duty on earth to be a writer. I feel it is my duty on earth to do this. I truly feel that way. Every molecule in my body. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys being here. I hope that makes sense. My mouth is my currency. You better believe it is. Absolutely, Weird Heather. I like the communication between me and viewers while streaming. It's a good chance to get to know people and have fun at the same time. God, I mean, everything that I just said, you could just take a flamethrower through. And exactly what you just said, Hybrid Steel, you said it a lot better. I love it. I love that. I absolutely love that. My mouth is my currency. I think she's not saying, she's not declaring that. I think she's questioning that, Neil. Now, let's all behave. Any other questions? Any other concerns? Yes. So innocent. Any other, I mean, I just absolutely love you guys. I love it. Don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. Have the audacity to tell your story. Tell your entire story. Tell the things that you wouldn't dare tell even maybe your close friend, even your mom, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Those are the things that really identify with your audience and your audience is moved by. Have the audacity to look silly, to not take yourself so seriously. If the Real Estate Whisperer is still here, I got to check out your channel. I'm going to check out all your channels, by the way. That's something that can help, and I can help too. So if you're interested in any sort of, personal coaching or consulting, you can always go to professornez.com/consulting, and you could hire me. I would be happy to help you. or just keep coming back here. Just keep coming back here every Sunday, or check out my boatloads of free content at professornez.com/live streams. My entire story, Alfredo, between 2010, when Bank of America let me go, that was a major transition. Yes, that's a great way of starting your story, Alfredo. Think of how many people between the years of 2010 to 2012 have gone through the same thing. As a matter of fact, 2010, 2012 doesn't even mean anything. They could be going through that right now. It doesn't even have to be between 2010 and 2012. The crux, the sort of plot, the sort of conflict of your story is that you were let go from a position that probably felt very secure to you. And that feeling of displacement, that feeling of the unknown, that feeling of what in the F am I going to do now? Do you know how many millions and millions of people out there can relate to that, Alfredo? Absolutely. Millions, if not billions of people. So that's a great crux. That's a great plot. And the cool thing is that it's real. It's you. It's real. That's what I love. Okay, guys, just another couple of minutes. If anybody has any last minute questions, I would really appreciate it. As always, I just want to say how much I thank each and every one of you guys, how much I appreciate each and every one of you guys. It means the absolute world to me that you're here on these streams. It means the absolute world to me that you're here in the Nez Nation family. Don't forget to make sure that you hit that like button, share this out, and that you're here every single Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Also, don't forget about our podcast, Nez Nation Live, the Personal Branding 101 podcast. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, we're on Stitcher. I've also got an amazing academy that I am the CEO of and that I run, beyondtheboxacademy.com. I see Christian is not here today. Hey, thank you so much, Super Dave. I really appreciate it. I got my sign made through Subi Zimmerman. So if you want to go to Subi Zimmerman, I'll leave it in the description. I think it's actually her sign company, I believe. So if you go to Instagram and type in Subi Zimmerman, you'll be able to get your own sign made just like that. And I think if you just go on Amazon and just search, hashtag signs or something like that, you should be able to find a bunch of companies. Thank you so much, Real Estate Whisperer. I really appreciate it. Hybrid Steel, I like these talks. It's really calm the way you get. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Hybrid Steel. That means the world to me. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Stony. You have no idea how much I appreciate you, man. I'm so happy you are a part of the Nez Nation family. Each and every one of you. We will have our Nez Nation Summit. Nez Nation Summit is coming, where we're all going to get together, and I'm going to buy you all drinks and food, and we're just going to have a laugh factory. We're just going to have a blast. You will not have to pay 1 cent to come to Nez Nation Summit. Maybe your own travel. I apologize. I can't pay for your flight. Let's see here. Patty, thank you. Thank you so much, Patty. That means the world to me. Thank you. Thank you, Flash. As always, may you always find a flash every day. May you always find a flash in your pan. Flash, Ed, you are the man. Super Dave, thank you so much. Thank you, Weird Heather. Yeah, I'll buy your plane ticket, Hybrid Steel. We'll all chip in. Where are you flying from? UK? Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Oh, you know what? You would have loved my class, Flash. Everybody loves my class. And, you can get a taste if you go to my playlist, my vlog playlist, you'll get a taste of what I'm like in the classroom. I really talk about a lot of cool stuff. I think I do. At least I hope I do. Yeah, I mean, they don't pay professors jack. Professors don't get paid anything, but I will always be a professor. That's why my brand is Professor Nez, because I've been professing since I came out of the womb, and I will always try to be a teacher. I'm a natural-born teacher, a natural-born coach. It's in my DNA. Like I said, this is not narcissism. This is me identifying who I am. Like, there's a ton of things that I'm bad at. I'm bad at a lot of things. But when it comes to this, I feel like I'm LeBron James. I feel like there's nobody better. I believe it in my heart. I just do. I believe it in my heart. Virtual ticket. Okay, Hybrid Steel, you got a virtual ticket. Thank you so much. I now love Sunday Works now much better. I have Nez with me in the DJ box. Yeah. Yeah. Mr. DJ, Crypto Cruising, Neil the DJ. Thank you so much, man. Oh man, my hat's off to you. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, Neil, and everybody else. I really, really appreciate it. All right, you guys, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Such a pleasure to have you with me. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, Neil, I posted that picture that you sent me from your DJ box. I posted on Instagram. That was really cool. If you want to send me another one, you can take a picture right now. Take a screenshot. Neil in the house. And you can post that and send it to me. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Hybrid. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Flash. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Stony Creek. Super Dave, so nice for you to join us. If you haven't added yourself to the chat, to the private Nez Nation chat, make sure you do that. Let me see who's in here. Okay, we got Alfredo. Alfredo's in here. Hopefully, Super Dave will get in there. I'll leave the link again in the chat, just really quickly before you guys go. I will leave the link again. And so you can you could come join that, because I would love for you to come check that out. Let me see here. Let me go back to messages. No, not TMZ Live. Let me go to messages. Okay, God knows why that showed up. That's really strange. And add participants, send invite, like, share group, copy. And then I'm going to go. It's just too complicated. It doesn't need to be this complicated. But Super Dave, hang out for a second, because, and anybody else who has not already, I want you to come. I want you to come join that right there, which I just put the link in the chat. Make sure you come. Make sure you come and click on that. Mike Paulus, you're late, man. We're just about to get out of here. Where have you been, Mike? Hit that like button, Mike. Come on in and smash that like button if you don't mind. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. That means the world to me. Hit that like button down below, right below the mic, as Neil told me. Oh, man, that's so cool. So cool. Thank you, Mike. You rock. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And Mike, are you in our private YouTube chat? Make sure you get in there. Thank you so much. I've been here just sitting. Oh, cool, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out, man. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, every single Sunday. And by the way, after this stream is published, if you have any comments, any other questions about the art of storytelling, leave them in the comments. Also, as I always say every single week, if there's a specific topic, if you're like, hey, Nez, could you talk about this? Or hey, Nez, do you know anything about this? Hey, Nez, what about negotiation? Hey, Nez, what about leadership? Hey, Nez, what about communicating your vision this way? Or how about personal branding this way? Leave it in the comments, and I might just take you up on it and use your idea as an entire live stream podcast. So let me know. Let me know in the comments below. What kind of videos do you want to see? What kind of live streams? What kind of topics? What kind of struggles? What kind of challenges? What kind of problems are you facing? Who's the man that's going to come to your rescue? This dude right here, Professor Nez. Hello. You know what time it is. I love you guys so much. Again, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. It is Professor Nez signing off. Have a wonderful week. Thank you, guys. It means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Get some coffee. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for the super chat. That means a lot. Get some coffee. Hey, Nez, why don't you cheer up? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate that. You guys rock. Thank you, Weird Heather. Thank you, Stony Creek. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Flash. Flash, you are awesome. Until next week, may you always have a flash in your pan. Thank you, Ed. You rock. Thank you guys so much. It means the absolute world to me. And I will see you guys same bat time, same bat channel every Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. What time is that in the UK, Hybrid? And Neil, what time is that? What time is that in the UK? That's got to be, let's see, 8 hours. 8 hours ahead. So is that 10 p.m. London time? Yes. Okay. Thank you, Hybrid. So 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. What's that time zone called? Euro time or UK time? What's that time zone called, Hybrid? Yeah. Thank you, Flash. See you, Super Dave. Thank you so much for joining us. Super Dave, get in the chat. Get in the private, the private YouTube group. We need you in there. Get in there. Make sure you click that link. Mike has joined. Awesome. Mike's in the house. Real Estate Whisperer. Good job, Real Estate Whisperer. GMT, Global Mountain Time. What the hell's that called? GMT. Greenwich something time. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it Euro time, right? Because isn't Europe, they're all the same kind of pretty much? Is that one down? So that would be 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Greenwich time. That's crazy. I'm going to say Euro time or UK. If you're in the UK, Germany, France, yeah, 10 p.m. That makes sense. France is 1 hour ahead. Damn. Okay. Greenwich. Okay, Greenwich. Greenwich. That's a weird thing. I'm going to mess that up a bunch. Alfredo's in the house. Good to see you, Alfredo. Okay, you guys. I love y'all. Have a wonderful week. I will see you guys next time. Greenwich Mean Time. Is that it? Okay, Greenwich Mean Time. So 2 p.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Okay, perfect, which is like London time, I guess. And probably a couple of other nations too, I'm sure. All right, you guys. Thank you so, so much as always. You guys rock my socks off. Appreciate you. Love you. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a good one.